My name is Louisa. I am 38 years old, and for a long time, my life was quiet and simple. I worked in a small city office. I earned enough to live, to smile, and to feel safe. I had friends. I visited my family. I enjoyed walking home after work, listening to music, thinking about small, ordinary dreams. I did not need much to feel happy. Then I met George. We met at a friend's dinner. I remember the soup was cold, and we laughed about it together. I was shy that night. I didn't talk much. George talked first. He smiled easily, joked naturally, and made me feel calm. When he looked at me, I felt seen. Safe. After that evening, he called me. Then we met again. Soon, we were dating. George was kind and funny. He listened to me. He held my hand when we walked. He told me stories about his big family, his parents and his younger sister, all living together in a large house. He said family was very important to him. I thought that was a good thing. I imagined warm dinners, shared laughter, and support. After 1 year, George asked me to marry him. I said yes without fear. I believed love was enough. When he took me to meet his family, I tried very hard to make a good first impression. I brought flowers and a cake. His father shook my hand politely. His mother smiled, but her smile felt cold. His sister didn't speak to me at all. I told myself not to worry. Maybe they were just quiet people. The wedding was small. My parents were happy. George's family came, but they did not celebrate. His mother wore black. His sister left early. I noticed it, but I chose love over doubt. After the wedding, George said we should live in his family's house to save money. I wanted to be close to him. I wanted to start our life together. So I agreed. I didn't know then that this choice would slowly take my voice away. After our wedding, George told me we would live with his family for a while. It will save money, he said gently. I loved him, and I wanted our marriage to work, so I agreed without thinking too much. The house was big, but it did not feel warm. It felt crowded, even when no one spoke. From the first morning, I tried my best to fit in. I woke up early, before everyone else. I made breakfast, cleaned the kitchen, washed the dishes, and helped George's mother with the laundry. I told myself this was normal. This was what a good wife did. But no one ever said thank you. George's mother watched me closely. She spoke little, but when she did, her words felt sharp. One day, she handed me a long list of chores. Floors. Windows. Bathroom. Kitchen. I was tired, but I did everything. When George came home, he looked around and said, "That's nice, Louisa. You're good at helping." Helping. That word stayed in my head. His sister soon joined in. She stayed in her room all day, scrolling on her phone, but she called my name whenever she wanted something. Louisa, make me tea. Louisa, iron my dress. She never said please. She never said thank you. My hands began to hurt from washing clothes by hand. My back ached from bending over the floor. Once, in winter, I made corn soup. George's mother tasted it, frowned, and said, "Too salty. You don't know how to cook." She poured it into the sink. I stood there quietly, fighting tears. I stopped seeing my friends. I stopped going out. I stopped laughing. One night, I finally spoke to George. "I feel like a maid, not a wife," I said softly. He looked tired and answered, "They just need time. Please be patient." But inside me, something was slowly breaking. At first, I told myself I could handle it. I believed that if I worked harder, if I stayed quiet, things would slowly get better. I woke up earlier than everyone else. I made breakfast before the sun came up. I cleaned the kitchen while the house was still silent. I washed dishes, folded clothes, and helped George's mother with the laundry. My body was always tired, but my heart was even more exhausted. No one ever said thank you. George noticed my work, but only in passing. "That's nice, Louisa," he would say. "You're good at helping." Helping. The word stayed in my mind. I wasn't helping a little. I was doing everything. But I waited for him to say more. He never did. His sister began to treat me like I was invisible. She stayed in her room all day, then suddenly called my name. "Louisa, make me some tea. Louisa, iron my dress." She never looked at me when she spoke. She never helped with the house. I did not argue. I just did what she asked. Winter came, and my hands became dry and painful from washing clothes by hand. One evening, I made corn soup. It reminded me of my mother. When I served it, George's mother tasted it and frowned. "Too salty," she said. Then she poured it into the sink. I stood there, frozen. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. I slowly stopped seeing my friends. I stopped going out. I stopped laughing. George didn't notice. On weekends, he went out alone. I stayed home and worked. His mother said, "A good wife stays at home." I believed her, even when it hurt. One day, his sister laughed and said, "Marriage changed you, Louisa. You look old." That night, I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were tired. My smile was gone. I asked myself quietly, where did I go? I was still there, but I was disappearing, one day at a time. By the time spring arrived, I no longer recognized the woman I saw in the mirror. My face looked older. My eyes were tired. My smile had disappeared without me noticing. Every day felt the same: wake up early, clean, cook, stay quiet, and wait for someone to tell me what to do next. One afternoon, my cousin Phoebe called. "How is married life, Louisa?" she asked cheerfully. I opened my mouth to say, "It's fine," but the words would not come out. Instead, my voice broke. I told her everything. I told her how I cooked and cleaned all day. How George's mother treated me like a worker. How his sister ordered me around. How my husband watched and said nothing. Phoebe was silent for a moment. Then she said something that stayed with me. "You are not their maid. You are George's wife." That night, I went home and did something small, but powerful. I did not cook. When George asked why dinner wasn't ready, I said quietly, "I'm tired." His mother called me lazy. For the first time, I did not apologize. I went to bed early with my heart pounding. I was scared, but I also felt something new. Strength. The next morning, his mother handed me a dress and told me to wash it by hand. "No," I said. She stared at me in shock. "This is my house," she shouted. "You cannot say no to me." I took a deep breath. "Then I will leave." George came running. I packed a small bag. My hands were shaking, but my mind was clear. "I need a break," I told him. "I will stay with Phoebe for a few days." Phoebe's home felt quiet and safe. For the first time in weeks, I slept well. I smiled again. 3 days later, George came to see me. We sat across from each other. "Do you want a wife?" I asked him, "or a maid?" He looked down. "Finally," he said, "I want you." "I'm sorry." That was the first time I believed him might change. I didn't sleep much that night at Phoebe's place. The room was quiet, clean, and warm, but my mind was loud. I kept hearing George's mother's voice, lazy, useless, not good enough. I kept seeing George looking away, silent, like my pain was an inconvenience. In the morning, Phoebe made tea and placed it in front of me like I mattered. She didn't ask me to wash a cup. She didn't hand me a list. She just sat with me and said, "You need to be heard." So I called George. "Come tomorrow," I said. "We need to talk." When he arrived, I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I simply looked at him and asked the question that had been burning inside me for months. "Do you want a wife, or do you want a maid?" George opened his mouth, then closed it. His eyes dropped to the floor. That silence was my answer, and it hurt, because it meant he had known all along. He had just chosen comfort over courage. "I love you," he finally said. "But you let them use me," I replied, my voice steady. "You let them turn me into a shadow. In that house, I don't exist. I cook, I clean, I wash, I fold, and no one says thank you. Not once. I'm tired, George. Not tired in my body. Tired in my soul." He reached for my hand. I pulled my hand back. "I'm not leaving you," I said. "I'm leaving that life. If you want me, you choose us. Not your mother's rules. Not your sister's demands. Us." George's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, he didn't defend them. He didn't say be patient. He didn't say they need time. He said, "You're right. I was wrong." Those words felt like air after months of drowning. "I'll find a place," he promised. "A small place. Just you and me. I'll fix this." This time, he moved, really moved. He searched after work. He called landlords. He visited small flats. He asked questions. He didn't wait for me to do it. He carried the weight with me. A week later, we found a small apartment with one bedroom and a tiny kitchen. The walls were plain. The floor creaked. But when I stepped inside, I felt something I hadn't felt since before I got married. I felt safe. The day we moved out, George's family stood in the doorway watching. No goodbye. No apology. His mother's face was hard as stone. His sister looked bored. For a moment, my old fear tried to return. What if they are right? What if I'm selfish? Then I remembered my hands in cold water, my soup thrown away, my tears swallowed, my silence. I lifted my chin, held George's hand, and walked out. In our new home, the first night felt unreal. We unpacked together. We opened the curtains. We sat on the floor with 2 plates and a simple meal. When we finished, I automatically stood up to wash the dishes. George stopped me. "I'll do it," he said. I stared at him, shocked. He washed the dishes slowly, clumsily, like someone learning a new language. And in that small moment, I felt something heal inside me. Not because he washed plates, but because he finally saw me. Weeks passed. Our life was still simple, but it was ours. We made breakfast together. We cleaned together. We laughed again. I started calling my friends. I walked in the park without feeling guilty. I looked in the mirror and saw my smile returning, little by little. On our first anniversary in the new apartment, George brought home a small cake with one candle. We turned off the lights. We danced in the living room, barefoot, laughing like two people who had survived something hard. He touched my face and said, "I'm sorry I didn't protect you sooner." I whispered back, "I'm proud I protected myself." Because that was the truth. I didn't leave to punish him. I left to save me. And now, in this small home, I finally remembered who I was. I am Louisa. I am a wife, not a maid. I don't need a big house to feel rich. I need respect. I need peace. I need love that shows up, not love that stays silent. Sometimes, freedom begins with one word. No.